Arizona Stadium, home to the world-famous worst seat in college football. Yes, folks, this delightful little spot is serenely nestled behind a concrete wall, leaving fans feeling like they've just booed a magician who made their view disappear. It's like paying for a panoramic view only to end up staring at a brick wall. Talk about a hard lesson in ticket purchasing. Now, imagine attending a game and spotting a hot tub precariously perched on flimsy decking. It's a recipe for disaster, or as I prefer to call it, a splash zone that you definitely didn't sign up for. When this little beauty inevitably collapses, the lesson is clear: never underestimate the weight of your friends and their bad decision-making skills. Meanwhile, in Venezuela, people are making architectural magic happen by building homes with tiny ground floors to dodge taxes.
But hold on tight.
The result is a delightful array of leaning structures that look like they're auditioning for a role in a horror movie, giving new meaning to the phrase, a tax break at all costs. Speaking of disasters, let's take a moment to remember the Fedini Amphitheater, which tragically collapsed and took 20,000 lives due to less than stellar construction. That's like trying to build a sandcastle during high tide. This remains the worst stadium disaster in history, a hearty reminder that sometimes, winging it isn't the best approach when constructing buildings meant to hold thousands. Interestingly enough, Emperor Tiberius, a guy who really didn't care for gladiatorial games, ended up inspiring the grand creation of the Fedini Amphitheater. I mean, talk about a twist of fate. It just goes to show how personal biases can shape public spectacles. Who knew indifference could lead to such ambitious construction? Over in a little church called Heiliger Virgilius, the clock on the spire is so misaligned that it sets off a whole new definition of fashionably late. This proves that even the tiniest design errors can turn historical architecture into a bit of an aesthetic headache. You'd think they'd have it aligned right. Was it an artisan's refusal to use a level? And yet, it's not the skilled craftsman we should blame for the warping of a historic spire. Nope. It's those sneaky little temperature differences affecting the lead covering. Just goes to show that even Mother Nature can throw a curveball when you least expect it. Who needs enemies when you have environmental factors working against you? In the land of Iran, there's an ATM installed so high it feels like a cruel joke, possibly a strategy to keep people from using it too often. I mean, it's like they expect you to shoot for the moon just to grab your cash. Trust issues in banks? More like trust issues for those who forget to bring a ladder. Innovative designs can sometimes be, well, a disaster in disguise. Take for example a kitchen counter that doubles as a staircase, because what's better than risking your life while preparing a meal? Prioritizing space over usability could lead to a kitchen experience that's truly out of this world, or just plain out of bounds. Now, let's talk about Sydney's metal benches, which can reach temperatures hotter than your ex's temper in July. Sitting on these bad boys in the summer might just give you a new appreciation for standing. Public safety in outdoor spaces? Let's just say that old-school shade trees look a lot more appealing right about now. And what's with poorly designed bunk beds above bathtubs? Hygiene issues, anyone? It's like they took the phrase "take your bed with you" a bit too literally. One wrong move and you could be showering with your pillow. Can we agree that modern housing needs a serious intervention? Now, who in their right mind decided that installing a power outlet right next to a sink was a good idea? It's like they were asking for a shocking experience. One spark and suddenly your home becomes an electric slide. This feels more like a prank than a renovation. Let's not forget that odd internal layouts can lead to some surprising surprises, like rooms without windows. Because who doesn't love a good game of guess what time it is in a pitch black space? Careful planning is essential in architectural design, folks. Otherwise, you might find yourself stuck in a real-life escape room without a clue. Emergency scenarios are where safety features can really show their true colors, like handrails that look more like obstacle courses. This highlights just how important it is to have functional safety measures that won't leave you feeling like you're in a video game with poorly designed controls during a crisis. Quality workmanship, my friends, can mean the difference between well-constructed fences and gates that get the job done versus those that look like they're ready to audition for a DIY fail video. It's time to invest in reliable contractors, because a broken fence is just an open invitation for the neighborhood raccoons. In Biel, Switzerland, there's an art installation using clever perspective tricks to give the illusion of height. It's a fantastic reminder of how design can totally manipulate our perception. Just think of it as its way of saying, don't worry, you're definitely taller than you look in the mirror. And then there's the classic door installation gone wrong that shows us why proper measurements in construction matter. It's like a comedy sketch where even a simple door can become a source of hilarity, because who doesn't want to navigate through life with doors that lead to nowhere? Lastly, let's take a moment to consider accessibility issues with a steep wheelchair ramp in Mexico. Because who doesn't love a little thrill ride when trying to navigate a public space? This underlines that the challenges faced by less able-bodied individuals shouldn't be taken lightly, we need to step up and build spaces that actually make it easier to get around.